our look now at the best in children's television. This morning, the new kid, or dinosaur on the block.
Saw the big purple reptile that kids can't resist.
The big purple dinosaur.
Teaches about love, and it just kind of like soothes the kids.
And always, there's that signature song.
Thank you so much for joining us for Purple Tales podcast. And of course, this celebrates the spirit of Barney. Hearing from those who we saw on TV, on video, and those who worked on the show behind the scenes. And what's amazing about Barney is I had no idea children's programming was so sophisticated. There's a lot of detail that goes into this. And of course, I'm Nancy J. and Carrie Stinson.
Hello,
as
Nancy.
Barney. Right. There's a lot of stuff that goes into Barney world.
Absolutely. It's one of the reasons I wanted to do this show, to show people how big it was, how big of a production it was, how much was involved in this. And so it's been really cool getting to show that and throw that out there.
And it's great that it was a dinosaur that was used as the toy, as this for your imagination, because there have been studies, we talked about this before, about a study that said kids who were usually between the ages of 3 and 6, they suddenly focus on something. And dinosaurs are the number one thing kids love to learn about, because I guess maybe because it is using their imagination, even though dinosaurs were real once upon a time.
You know, it's a really amazing thing if you think about it. And I did so many hospital visits over the years, and an 8-foot purple dinosaur you think would scare the heck out of children, and you just didn't see it a whole lot. You know, they came to love him and came right there, and it's kind of a crazy thing how that worked out.
But it's not just kids. No. I found this is crazy. And I'm wondering if Purple Tales has anything to do with this. But apparently, the hottest trend in the art market right now, and it's not fabulous paintings or photographs. No, it's dinosaur bones, dinosaur heads. And apparently Leonardo DiCaprio, Nicolas Cage have been buying up these things, and very, very wealthy, famous people, a lot of them don't want to be mentioned, they're buying this stuff up.
Wow.
And this is, I guess, because Leo is in this movie right now that's out right now, the new Quentin Tarantino.
Yep.
Well, once upon a time in Hollywood, Leo DiCaprio did indeed buy a dinosaur head for his sons. They're now 15 and 12. So this was back when his sons were 2 and 5, fitting into that. Paid a lot of money, but then one day he and Russell Crowe, were the gladiator, we're kind of hanging out, drinking some vodka, and Leo said, I want to get rid of this dinosaur head. I want to get some new ones. And Russell goes, I'll buy it.
Wow.
A couple of drinks later, Russell owns this dinosaur, and I think I'm trying to see. He said he only paid about $30,000 or $35,000, worth a lot more now. And he just gave Russell the regular price. So
well, there you go.
Hollywood loves dinosaurs, actors of all ages, and I don't know. So maybe a lot of these actors who love dinosaurs, these people who are investing, maybe they were Barney fans way back when.
Yeah, I don't know.
That may be a stretch, but I think it sounds good.
I don't know. Well, it's been amazing to see the reaction that the kids are having on our show. All these kids, from Hayden and Pia Hamilton that was with us. It's been really cool seeing people getting excited to see how these kids have grown up and the stories.
I know they love Barney, and they love BJ and Baby Pop, but I think a lot of these kids, as they were watching it, wanted to be this character or that character.
It's a funny thing. I run into people all the time in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that audition for Barney. All the time. I tried. They didn't, They didn't, just because they had so many kids, and that's a beautiful thing, and it's awesome that they did audition and try. But it is interesting, the connection that the kids have.
I read through all of the comments and things that we get from listening and watching and everything for Purple Tales, and there seems to be one name that are on the fingers of typing in to us.
Well, there's a couple names. There's a couple names: Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato.
Well, sure, but the ones there's one that they really want to know about.
There is one that they care about a lot from the early days. He won't like that I'm saying the early days, but it is Brian Eppes who played Michael, and he is here with us today.
Welcome. I think you deserve an applause. Oh my goodness gracious.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's so good to have you here.
It's great to be here. Great to be here.
I haven't seen you in a long time. We talked about this a little bit earlier. There was a birthday party that we did together. You probably don't remember it completely. I don't remember every aspect about it, but that was back in '91.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember back then, everyone wanted, you were very popular back then, and I know you've told me these days,
Well,
it's continued.
Yeah, I mean, it has. And those birthday parties we went to were just great. It was awesome to see those kids and to have them want us to be there and to see their faces or how they would kind of, they'd be a little standoffish, but it was awesome, to see there. And for them want me to be there for their birthday parties and do that was a great feeling. It was awesome.
Of course, now you are a criminal defense attorney, and we're going to talk about that, but I think we need to really back up to the very beginning.
I mean,
Brian,
way up.
Way back. I mean, I know that you started on Barney, in 1988, 8 years old, but what were you doing before? Did you want to be on TV? Were you an actor wannabe?
I was. I had been working since I was 2. So,
wow.
And we'll use that kind of working. When I was 2 years old, my mom took me to an open casting call for a department store. And my dad said, no, there's no way there's going to be a ton of people there. And there were. But I got it. And so my mom said,
And now what department store was that?
It was Meyer and Frank up in Washington.
Okay.
Washington State. So I went to that, and I got the part, and then we moved back to Texas. And when I was 4, I was in preschool.
Right.
And my preschool teacher told my parents, you know what, we've got a friend that's kind of starting to be an agent. Why don't, maybe he's kind of acts the way that, he might be good at it, or we'll go and see. So we interviewed, and I started working when I was 4, doing print work. I remember some of the first ones I did for was Foley's, I think.
Tights?
Yeah, it might have been that. It was a long time ago. And so it just kind of, progressed on from there. Commercials, radio commercials, print, anything, just about everything up until that point. And
then what got you to the audition for Barney?
It was just a call. Agent called, said, hey, we've got this audition for a children's show that they're going to do some videos for. It really wasn't any different than some of the other ones that I did before. We had gone on, you go on thousands of auditions, and you don't get hardly any of them. So we went, and they kind of told us a little bit about what it was. I remember some of it. I think we had 2 or 3 auditions, and they kept narrowing us down till the end, and it was just between me and another guy, or another kid.
And for our audience and for you, Nancy, this was the Backyard Gang. So these were the original videos. Barney really didn't explode and become popular until Barney and Friends, which was in 1992. But this is the shows with Sandy Duncan. And so you're really one of the original kids.
But so when you auditioned, you didn't know that this was a big deal. It wasn't.
No, it wasn't a big deal.
It wasn't anything.
It wasn't a big. Even when those 3 videos were done, it wasn't a big deal.
It really wasn't. We knew it was a special group of people. There was something special there, but it wasn't as far as the tapes or the shows or anything like that. There are other, shows and stuff that I had done that were similar to this that never went anywhere.
Right.
Matter of fact, they probably didn't even make it through production.
Right.
So it really wasn't, okay, we went and did these 3 shows, had a great time. It was awesome, great memories, but never thinking that we're going to come back and do one more. And we're going to come back and do one more. And then it kind of just snowballed and went on from there.
Yeah.
But you know what? Your first video, those things that you did live
on,
thanks to the internet.
Yeah.
So should we, Carrie, you want to go ahead? Should we go ahead and start with this? The very first.
Absolutely. When's the last time you saw any of these clips?
Probably 30 years ago.
Oh, Michael, look what I found. Barney the dinosaur.
And this is for our YouTube friends. We know if you're listening audio-wise, you want to check this up on PTP.
Gonna be a show. What
YouTube.
do you mean? Well, there's no way we can put on a show with all this stuff in a couple of hours.
A lot of noises.
Yeah,
a lot of color.
Color and noises. But I didn't realize Barney was yours as the Michael.
Yeah.
You were the owner.
Well. Oh, wow. Oh, my.
Yeah.
For those who don't have YouTube and they're listening to us, what did you just see?
Well, we're seeing the Barney coming alive. We're bringing him out.
And in a very different way.
A very
than
different way.
Than the TV show.
Yes.
There's the song.
Uh-huh. That's fantastic.
How does that feel when you watch
It
that?
feels awesome, and I see all those folks. I remember all of them. I remember that set pretty well. The funny thing about that particular costume, which I don't think you ever said, that costume was made out of foam.
Yeah.
And it was like on the outside, and it was basically just painted on the outside. It's very rough. So hugging him right there and rubbing your face, it was almost like sandpaper. And I imagine it was really hot inside, but that costume, the ones they came out with later on were super nice, and they were kind of the felt on the outside.
Yes.
Much nicer to touch and hug, and for the kids and all that. But
yeah, the costume developed a lot over the years, and that would have been David Voss, by the way.
That would have been David Voss
in
yes.
the costume.
Yes, I remember
Bob
David.
West.
Yep.
And then you did bring your original plush. I mean,
Yeah.
was this the one that you think? Did you use this one? Let's show this. Do you think you used that one on that shoot?
I don't know if we used this.
Yeah, I think that was a plush toy.
This is
that wasn't
probably a
actually
toy. Yeah.
on a set.
That they put out in production, but it's one of the original ones. Obviously, it doesn't look anything different than the ones now. But I still have this. This sits on my son's wall, up on a shelf.
So what happened to your life after you shot that video?
It
Probably not a whole lot.
not
Not much at all.
Not much different. I mean, we did those 3 videos that summer. And then right after that, I went back to school, went back to, everything normal, went back to working, whatever else I had going on or whatever else I was doing. And then we came back and, did a couple more videos, and then that's when it kind of, really started taking off.
The TV show.
And then the TV show is when it got full time.
Yeah, on those videos, though, let's talk a little bit more about those. So Sandy Duncan was in those. Did you know who Sandy Duncan was?
I did not. I didn't. My parents did. They understood. They knew who she was. She was fantastic. I remember her being super nice, great to work with. I mean, you're dealing with a bunch of young kids and what you're doing, but she was awesome. She was super nice. I had no idea any of the Peter Pan stuff or anything that she had done, or the significance of her being on the show and her career and everything. I had no idea. Now I do, and I'm like, wow, that was awesome.
Because that was the big deal. That's what they were doing to try and get Barney to. She was the name.
Yep.
No one knew what Barney was. No one knew any of this stuff. She was the name with it. So it's interesting.
Yeah, and looking back now, it's incredible. I mean, just absolutely incredible.
And on that first video, the Barney in the Backyard Gang, she intros it. She's sitting there, which is really, and she's looking at the camera saying, this is what, here's what we're doing and why. And she actually said the reason why the creators have made this is for education and entertainment. And she called it edu-tainment, which I hadn't heard anyone use.
Yeah, I think that was probably the first time that may have ever been used.
And since then, I don't think it's been used again.
No, probably not. No, probably not.
Well, and the other great thing that Sandy Duncan did that you probably don't know this is she brought Miss Penny. She is the one they had gone through several choreographers and they were really struggling with it. And Sandy Duncan is the one that said, you need to get Penny Wilson. We've talked about Penny Wilson a lot on this show. She was very important to all of us. And I know for all of the actors.
Yeah.
What was it like working with Miss Penny?
It was awesome. I mean, she was so great. I learned so much. One thing I was just watching this show is, if you can tell, we've got a little bit of an accent. We all are from around here.
Right.
And there's a little bit of an accent I can hear in there, and I haven't watched this in a long time. And I remember Penny was teaching us how to talk and how I have these. How many fingers do I have? I have 10 fingers. 10. It's a tin can. We had to learn to say 10. And so it was a little bit more broad way to talk. So she had to take some of the Texan out of the way that we spoke. I still, to this day, remember that stuff. But
awesome.
Those type of things, and I was just listening, I was like, no wonder they had to clean that up. Because, man, that was...
I love that because it really surprises people watching this even today. that the show wasn't done in New York. It wasn't done in California. It is a very Texas show. I'm a huge proud Texan, and so I love this.
Absolutely.
But I also, Penny, I can see her doing that.
Yeah, we would sit there
love
and
that.
yeah, we would any kind of words like that. But 10 is the biggest one that I remember. To this day, I still remember that it's TEN is the number, TIN. 10 is a tin can.
I love it.
Yeah.
Every time you say 10,
Uh-huh.
10.
Always think of
That's
yeah,
it,
Miss Penny.
Well, so there were 5 other kids on that first show with
Mm-hmm,
you. Did everybody get along? I mean, was this kind of like you just kind of, hey, we're just having fun?
Yeah, I mean, it was. We all got along just fine. I mean, even from that show going forward, you're still young kids hanging out, and you're going to have little, oh, you took the last, lemon square or whatever. Or I want to sit here instead of sit there. Yeah, that's normal.
Right.
But as far as everybody getting along, we did. I don't know. People all the time, oh, come on, tell me something. I don't have anything to say. Everybody got along. We were all a little bit different ages. We were stacked a little bit. So there's nobody that's exact my age. But we got along great. It was fun.
Now, could you tell when you went from those videos to now the TV show, could you tell that the production was upping, that everything was starting to move?
Mm-hmm. You could tell. I mean, probably a lot of just the set and set design, and the budget probably was a little bit more.
Yes.
And they were spending a little bit more money on things. The new suit that came out.
Right.
The new Barney suit.
That was very important to me because when we would get close to him or hug him or whatever, I noticed, hey, this isn't scratching my face anymore. I mean, that was the little things for us, but that was fantastic.
Sure.
And it breathed it a little bit better. How about we'll put it that way?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Absolutely.
So you did say, though, on those first videos, you shot them all during the summer, all in one time.
Yes.
So you had the Waiting for Santa during the summer, and then there was, what was it, another one that we've got?
There was a couple of them.
So the first 3 we
Okay.
did was the backyard show, which we were all still a gang then. With this backyard show, 3 Wishes, and A Day at the Beach. And those were the 3 that we did. And then we came back the next year. We did Waiting for Santa, I think. We did Barney's Campfire Sing-Along. And so those are kind of, and then Back to School, or Barney Goes to School. And so those are kind of the ones that got, every summer. And they did it in the summer, which is great. We could go to work. They didn't have to have a teacher. I understood. It was great. And then we go to school. So
Were your parents on the set with you, or someone?
they
you were
were.
with?
They were. Everybody's folks are there.
And that's different. We were just talking about this a couple weeks ago. We had the teacher on for when I was on the TV show, and the parents were not allowed on the set at that time. But in the original days, they were. They had the parents on the set with them.
We had when we were at Color Dynamics. I thought the set was huge, but it was tiny. I had no idea until we went to Las Colinas. And so I went over there and saw the set one time. I was like, oh my gosh, you kids have no idea. There was a tiny window up at the top, real tiny. And that was like the waiting room break area. And so our folks would sit up there. They could peek down and see what was going on,
Right.
but they didn't need to. Everything was fine.
Yeah.
But I remember them sitting up there and they could watch, and then they could come down if they wanted to, but they usually just sat up there and watched and hung out. It was no big deal. But they were there. All the folks were there.
We've got another pretty cool video. You want to go to that one?
Absolutely.
1990, Waiting for Santa. So there you are in a
the
sleigh,
sleigh.
Yep.
all bundled up.
All bundled up. Well, look at the special effects.
Yeah.
There are none.
yeah, as in 0.
Oh my goodness. So what do you recall when you look at this? You in that sleigh.
In that sleigh, in that particular scene right there, I was very sick. I had, I believe, the flu or maybe pneumonia. I can't quite remember. I was probably running about 103 fever. So no one really wanted to be around me, I remember, from the cast or crew. So what would happen is we'd finish shooting a scene, and then at the front of Color Dynamics and the lobby of the office building.
And Color Dynamics, by the way, was in Allen, Texas.
Yes.
This is the original business that they had when they started. So a publishing company. That
Huge
they
publishing
had.
company.
Yes.
But it was a business, and they
Yes.
had a studio on the side.
Right.
So at the front of the business, when you walk in the door, there was a lobby area, when there was a reception desk, and then there was a little waiting couch right there. And when I was in between scenes and when we were taking breaks, they had set up a bed there for me to rest. sleep or whatever
Like
I needed to
triage.
do. Stay away from everybody else, but be at the
dear.
front. And I remember sitting there, and I could be done. I'd come out there, I'd lie down. My parents would be out there, get water, whatever, and take a nap or whatever needed to be doing until it was time to start whatever shooting this next scene, and then get all the clothes back on, go in, do what we needed to do, and then come back out. But the poor receptionist up there, I don't know if she got sick or not. But
You are a trooper, though. I mean, the show had to go on.
the show had to go on, and that to kind of, I guess, segue a little bit. That is one thing that I took away from being on the show from the day one, and from my folks, was the show has to go on, and there are no sick days. And I say it in the happiest, best way that I can, because my folks would tell me, look, there are 25, 30, 40 people that are dependent on you to be there. They've got husbands and wives. They've got children too. They've got families to support. You have to go. You have to perform. You have to be there. You don't take time off to do anything. And so I learned that when people are dependent on you and you make a commitment, my folks said, you make a commitment, you stick with it. At the end of your contract or at the end of the series, you don't have to do anymore if you don't want to. But right now, you've made a commitment to do it. And so learning that, and trying now with my own children at their age and trying to teach them, when you make a commitment, you need to do it. And so I talk to my folks sometimes, recently, within the past 6 months, my kids, I don't want to go do this or I don't want to do that. Well, you've made a commitment. And my folks did a fantastic job of pushing just enough, and not too much to where I didn't want to do it anymore, but they pushed just enough. So I learned that lesson, but also understood, hey, you got to do it. And it was great. I'm not saying anything. It was fantastic.
Sure.
But I talk to my parents now. I say, how did you do that?
Right.
I need to know. Y'all did
great.
it perfectly. How do you do it? And the answer they get is like, you'll just know. I said, I know, but you guys did it for 5 years. How did you know? How did you know? And they said, you'll figure it out. You know your kids. You'll do it. You'll do the right thing. So they were phenomenal.
So far, have you been doing the right things with your kids, you think?
I hope so. I think so. But I got 2 good kids, so I think so.
Good.
Well, that's part of, I went through that being on the road, and everyone on the road. There was no taking time off. There was a show every night, whether you're sick or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And I've seen that. But they also, and I love how you tell the story about them taking care of you, because they don't just push you on the stage. They definitely are there to support you. They were amazing about that.
Yeah, it's whatever we needed and whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, there was nothing about that. Hey, we'll take whatever you need,
Right.
and go and do it, and it made it comfortable and easy to do. I wanted to get out there when you have all those great people working with. So.
There's another scene in this Waiting for Santa video where you play an elf.
No, yes.
Now, were you sick? You're sick through the whole shoot? Was this a one-day shoot, you think, or did you feel better? 'Cause
No,
you
this
did-
was a week. This was probably a week or so, maybe even a little bit
Okay,
longer.
good, because here we go. Because, look, you're looking better.
Yeah. Oh,
You got
my.
to watch it just to see these moves.
This is incredible. I cannot do that anymore.
The boogaloo.
I'm looking like an elf. Only problem is I'm all by myself. Hi, I'm Amy and I'm an elf too. I've got a whip of
Look, you were rapping.
That's right. That's the elf rap. It was that song right there.
Now, do you remember that? Do the words come back as you're watching it?
Absolutely.
So you could do it right now?
No, not right now. I couldn't do it. But yeah, all those songs, I remember them.
So what was the hardest part for you? Was it the acting, the remembering the lines, the singing, the dancing? What did you struggle with? Or did you struggle with anything?
Yeah, I mean, you can tell. You can watch these shows. I'm not a very good singer. And I think learning the lines and doing that wasn't a problem, because once you got into the rhythm, we just got it, and it didn't take much. And 1 or 2 times of reading the script, and you got it, and everything was going. We rehearsed in the same order and everything. The week was the same every time we went through. So doing those, it wasn't a big deal. I don't think I was a very good singer. Dancing was probably okay. But for me, as far as being on the show and doing that, it was probably the outside stuff, the travel to get there and all those type of things was the more difficult part.
What was your process like learning lines?
Usually, what I would do is we'd get a script, and I would go read through it one time, and then keep reading through it, figuring out where everything was, and then you just keep reading it and imagining kind of where this would be once you kind of figured everything out.
Right.
And then how we're going to be sitting here. And then at the end, once we got through rehearsals, everybody knew each other's lines anyways at that point. So we just got to that's how we do it. Just read it over and over
Right.
again.
When you went back to school then, after you would shoot during the summer for these seasons, What was that like? Did they know what you were doing, or was it just he acts all the time? kind of
Yeah,
thing?
I mean that's pretty much it. My friends knew what I did. The school did. We had a great relationship with our principal. My parents did. They went and sat down with her and they said, "Hey, this was an elementary school, and hey, he has this job. He does, and so sometimes we're going to need to take him out if he needs to go do an audition, or sometimes we need to go do that." And the principal and the teachers were cool with it. They let me do it, and so I would just kind of come. It wasn't all the time, but they let me do that, and everybody knew, but not really. We were still
Right.
kids.
Right. Did you do the Majestic show?
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
I thought you would
Yes.
have been part of that. That's the big video where they introduced Baby Bob.
Yes.
So it was a
Yes.
huge. Their biggest show at the time was at the Majestic Theater in Dallas, Texas. And I thought you were part of that.
My
show.
parents are on it too.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're extras on that. If you watch it, and I was talking to my kids, we've got a couple of the DVDs, and one of them is the Best of Barney, and there's some of that on there, and the clip of my parents is on there.
That's awesome.
And so my kids would say, "I think that's Nana and Papa on there," and I said, "That's Nana and Papa on there."
That's awesome.
It's quick. You got to be real quick, but you can
That's
see 'em.
awesome.
You can stop it,
You can
yeah.
see them.
What was that like? So you've been doing these videos. All of a sudden, you're doing something live. What was it like to be in front of a live audience?
Awesome. I loved it. I loved being in front of a live audience. That's something that I really enjoyed. We did some travel right at the beginning of the PBS stuff, at the very early on. We went up to Rhode Island, Connecticut, and did some stuff for Connecticut Public Broadcasting.
Which is who put
and who
Barney
which
on
is
the air,
put
yeah.
everything on the air.
CBTV.
And, yes, and so we went up there and did some live shows, and it was just awesome. I loved it because you get to feel from the audience kind of what's going on. I
Right.
mean, and,
Yeah.
and you get to interact with them some.
Right.
So that was really good. That was cool because that was a big venue, and there was a lot of people there, and it was pretty awesome. We enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing that. The first time we had any kind of live thing, we did some appearance in a mall around here, and I can't quite remember, but it was somewhere right around here. And so we had a little deal set up. We were going to do a little show or whatever, and the crowd that showed up was incredible, and we had no idea. And I remember my folks. We've talked about it since. Maybe, whoa! There was a lot of people here, and it was crazy. When you have the upper decks
Yep.
and everybody's looking over and everybody's up there, and it was pretty cool. But I like doing those live shows. That was a lot of fun.
Is that kind of when you started realizing the popularity was starting?
There's something was going here. There was something happening. I think, and my folks did too. That there's something at foot here.
So you worked from the time you were 8 years old to 13.
Correct.
On Barney. I mean, those are really formative years. You were kind of raised on the Barney set
Yeah.
in many ways.
I grew up on that show. I grew up working there, and I say work. That's because that's what it was. But it really was a family. It was my family. I spent more time there than I did at home or anything else. I mean, it was a 40-hour work week. There's child labor laws, and they followed all that perfectly. But it was a 40-hour week, and so we'd get there at 8:30, and we would leave at 5:30. And it was 8:30, but 5:30 we stopped. No matter what was happening, we stopped at 5:30. And so, yeah, I consider all those folks my family. It was pretty much the same group of people throughout the entire time as far as crew goes. Certainly the cast was pretty close.
Right.
But as far as the crew went, it was just about the same people every time. And it was the finest group of folks that I've had the opportunity to work with. I feel like it was just wonderful. It was as if they were handpicked, which I feel like they probably were. It was great.
Yeah, those are my family too.
Oh wait,
they
wait.
continued.
We got a picture up. Oh my!
Oh.
You're a little older here.
I'm quite older there. This
Brian?
this is at the end of my my run. I think I'm probably about 12 or 13 here. This is a photo that when folks ask for a signed picture, this is the one that I signed for them. That is it's in the school. On that side is this, and that was still at the Color Dynamics studio.
Yes.
And that's the side that's a school, and they flipped around. It's the outside is on the other side of that.
Yeah, and we've kind of talked about that before, but the sets became so big as Barney continued. But
Yeah.
this original one was 2 sets in one building, so you were cameras on one side and you were shooting, and then you
When it was time to
switched.
go outside, then everybody has to pick up all their stuff
Right.
and move, and then somebody has to come through and like reset all the little pieces
Yeah.
because inevitably
You still got all your hair?
yes, it's gray.
Well, that's
It's
okay.
getting gray.
That's okay. No. You've grown up quite well, I do believe.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that was right towards the end, I think.
What is the apples and bananas song that I've been hearing about?
That was a
very popular song.
yeah. This song,
Oh wait,
this scene is
Flaco cereal. Look,
Yeah.
Barney's colors changed.
he's starting to change a little bit. He's starting to change a little bit. So
you
Leah and I are, well, Lucy on the show, but it was Leah.
Yeah.
She and I are going back here. We're going to put some costumes on here in a second.
In the video, not
In the-
here on the podcast.
Yeah, that's correct.
Just make sure.
That's correct, yes. In the video.
So this is the apples and banana. You got to be in a bowl.
So I was the apple right there.
He's not in the bowl. He is in the apple.
Yeah, I'm the apple, and Leah is the banana right there.
Oh,
What was going on with this is we were having a good time. They were throwing those things around. Those cornflakes or whatever they are were they were made of foam. And so what was happening was they were throwing those up. It's probably not on the scene that much, but they were throwing those things up, and there was like a frisbee. Those things start flying, and I've seen an outtake video years and years and years ago. Well, one of those deals, and well, here it is. They can kind of get going. You can see they left some of it going. That hat wouldn't stay on my head, and they let this run.
oh, well, you know what?
So they're all laughing. You can kind of see they're laughing. Leah's
That
laughing
hat,
really
you can't
hard.
see
She keeps
it.
trying to fix the hat. I can't fix it because my hands are stuck in the apple. This was none of that was planned. That you're seeing right here. I remember that. None of that was planned. We just started having fun.
But that's it. You were kids. You were real kids.
Yep. Yeah. There's a lot of scenes that they would let things run that made some of the tapes or some of the episodes that were completely either ad-libbed or they turned out well or better than what they had even thought just by
You know,
doing
it's
them.
funny. We talk about the sets and the costume and all that, but another thing that was so basic was the music.
Yes.
The music changed a lot over the years.
It did. It
when
did.
Different musical, when Joe Phillips and others came in, and they really added a lot to it. But I'm listening to that version of Apples and Bananas, like, oh my gosh, that was so basic.
Right. It's just it really was, and
Very simple.
Very simple. The voices that are our solos were us. But if it was a group of more than about 3 or 4, then they had some other kids that would sing, so we didn't have to go in and do that all the time. But the ones that are ours, but you're right, the music is just very simple, which probably had something to do with it.
I think
Yeah,
so
with
too.
with the hook on the younger kids.
Absolutely.
That was the edutainment.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Something very simple, basic.
And that sticks in your head and you can't get it out of your head.
It does for 31 years. Yes, you're exactly right.
Oh my gosh. So it was eye-opening then as a child, wasn't it?
It was. It was. It was a lot. I mean, I keep going back. It was a lot of fun, and it really and truly was. We put a lot of hard work into it. We did as kids. My family did. My parents did. There was a lot that went into it for me to be able to do that and then continue to do it. And the kids and everybody put it, but it was so very rewarding at the end of the week or at the end of the day, and then you just kind of kept going, and it shows. I think it shows on screen, on any of the episodes or anything. That is real.
Right.
It is real.
Yeah.
And I don't care how much you can say acting or whatever, Barney is this or that. Barney's real. He's real to me.
Sure.
He's always been real to me. When we would get out there and start performing or doing it, when he was a purple dinosaur, it wasn't you or anybody else was in there. It was something that was real.
So why didn't you just stay forever with Barney?
So 13, 14, we kind of started to realize it's probably, probably the end. The next episode is going to be what Michael gets his driver's permit
Yeah.
or something like that. It just became a point that
And they really took you about as long as they could.
They really
They
did.
really pushed past what they usually. And in later years, they never got anywhere close to 13.
Yeah, and I think most of the kids going further than that didn't stay more than about 1 or 2 years, maybe.
Yes.
It got real short, so
Yes.
they pushed it as far as they could, which was very nice and very kind of them. But we all knew. I knew.
Right.
My parents knew it was.
Sure.
Sure, I'd love to have continued,
Sure.
but it was time. It was
Sure.
time.
But so it was a little sad then?
It was very sad. Yeah, absolutely. I remember the last at the very end when the last day we shot. At the very end, they let me rap and tell everybody, hey, because it was we were done, and so I wrapped the show, kind of a little thing, and they talked a little bit nice, and we kind of moved on. So, yeah, it was sad. Mm-hmm.
Then what? Then what did you do? Did you just, I mean, were you still acting after that, or did you just try to be a normal kid in high school by then, I guess?
By then, I was
high?
junior high. I was going into 8th grade. We went out to California and talked to some agents to kind of see what the deal was. That's not for me. It just wasn't a good fit. And so we spent a week out there, and I remember on the flight back, I was telling my folks, they said, "What'd you think?" And I was like, this isn't for me. I think I'm done. I've been doing this for 12 years. I think I want to go and go to school and play sports and be a kid and be with my friends.
I think
that
that's
was
awesome though, because they let you come to that decision, and taking you out to LA, there's no regret, right? Because you saw it.
Yeah. Oh, no regret. No, still
Yeah.
no, zero.
That's awesome.
It was not a place for me. My folks, I think, were probably happy about that, but
Sure.
I mean, my folks are fantastic. They were just absolutely fantastic with all of this and how they handled it, and the way and the sacrifice and everything they put into it. Nobody has any idea. It was just incredible. We lived in Arlington, and so the studio, like you were saying, was up in Allen, and there was nothing up there, by the way. There was a Burger King, and that was it, which is a Starbucks now.
Yep.
And so it's incredible how much stuff was up there now. But anyways, we lived in Arlington. It was an hour and a half drive each way. So my folks would drive. My dad would drive me in the morning and then drop me off. And that's when I'd work on some music or work on on lines or whatever, or take a nap was usually what at the end of the day. And then my mom would come back at 5:30, pick me up and drive me home every day, Monday through Friday when we were taping the shows. And so that I sit there and I'd say, oh my gosh, I cannot believe, because I'm my parents' age now when I was on the show, and my kids are my age. And so I look now at my kids and I say, I can't believe my parents did this. And now we drive our kids around, and whenever I start to, say, "Oh, we got to drive to this," and my parents say, "Nope, nope, 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 no." You don't get to complain. And I remember I said, "You're exactly right," because what they did for us, or for me, it got to the point where I would stay with Cheryl Leach something like 1 or 2 nights a week.
Wow.
And so I would go home with her, give my parents a break.
Wow.
And I would stay there 1, 2 nights, and then go to work, and then on Friday they'd come pick me up. And there's some other folks that would open their home to me every once in a while that lived up close. That was just and so I did that, and my parents loved that.
Wow.
So yeah, that was cool.
That's amazing. So now, but now when you were in high school though, Barney is now much more popular.
Oh yeah.
So did the kids know that you were on Barney at
Oh
one
yeah.
point? What was that like?
It was fun. It was interesting. My close friends and our people that I knew well, they knew, and it didn't matter. They didn't even think one thing or another. My wife and I went to high school together. We knew each other in junior high, so she knew. There was no big deal. Other teams and sports would try to, use that as a razz. I remember one game we were playing in football in 9th grade. They got all the stands to start singing the "I Love You" song.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Which is great. I love that song. It doesn't bother me one bit. Go right ahead. You know. And so on the field, sometimes they try to use that to say, hey,
awesome.
Whatever. But all that was going on.
It, right?
Well, yeah, of course.
That's what's so cool about it.
Yeah.
And I know Carrie just is the same way. You've got to own this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and if
I've had people sing "I love you" to me so many times over the years.
Oh yeah,
it happens all the time.
Yeah, they say, "Oh, what do you think of that song?" Well, I think it's a great song. I love it.
Yeah,
it's a wonderful song. It's a wonderful show. I mean, you get parents that come and talk to me, and they say, "Well, I couldn't stand that show," and I said, "Well, that's good. That show wasn't made for you. My kids loved it. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. Your kid was 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 years old, and they watched the show. Yes, that's who we wanted." Then they start telling me, I say, "Oh, well, it was really awesome because I can sit down and I will turn the show on and play that video over and over and over again, and then I get to go clean the house, or I get to go and have a few minutes to myself, or I get to go do that." And it was awesome hearing parents tell me that, and hearing the side from the parents of how their child interacted with it, or what it did for them, and how much they enjoyed watching it. And it was great hearing those stories, and I love it. But I never understood it until I had my own kids. Excuse me. And when my kids have seen the show, and I'm on this side, and then I say, I get it now. Now I understand when they watch the show, I see how even more magical the show was, or how even cooler it was. Now I can get a little bit different perspective, but it's always been
Yeah, and we see that a lot. You know, there was a lot of people back in that time that just didn't understand it because we didn't entertain for the adults. This was all about entertainment and education for children. Sesame Street was very popular back then, and they were entertaining adults at the same time, which is great. But that's just not what we were doing.
No.
So we had a lot of parents, you know, I hate that dinosaur and all of that. Then they saw it, you know, you see it through your child's eyes, as you say, and all of a sudden it changes everything. You know, I've seen it, you've probably seen it, you know, seeing a child hug their parent and say, I love you during that song, or giving them a kiss. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And your kids are 6 and 10, so they're Barney fans.
Oh yeah, they are. They know. It's hard to find my episodes these days. We've got a couple. Sing and Dance was the last one that you can still kind of find. You might be able to stream it. We've got them on DVDs, and they still watch them every once in a while. But they like the show. It was funny the first time they kind of watched it. And I came home from work, and I don't think my son was born yet. My daughter's 2 or 3, and she came and gave me a big hug, and she said, "I watched Barney today, Daddy," and I said, "Oh, that's great. You were so funny." And I just was like, that is really awesome. I said, well, thank you. I said, what did I do? And so then she told me, you know, here's what you did. And I said, oh, that sounds so fun. Well, she was in preschool, they played that episode or that DVD for her in her class. And I think she was 2. And the teacher said that she went to the director of the school and said, you know, the funniest thing happened today. She said, my daughter kept coming up to her and saying, that's my daddy. And the teacher said, oh, that's really nice. You know, Barney, you know, you think Barney's your daddy. And she said, no, that's my daddy. That's my daddy. And she kind of just, okay, that's fine. You know, it's so nice to hear that, little girl. So she goes and tells the director of the school, she goes, you know, she said the funniest thing today. And she says, oh, yeah, that is her dad. And she goes, is it really? And she goes, yeah, his wife teaches here. My wife taught at the preschool, too. They said, yeah, his wife teaches here. And she goes, oh, does she really? Oh, my gosh. And then she felt bad. She had to go to my daughter and say, hey, you know, I'm so sorry. And then she goes to Megan. And then I came up there and, you know, she wanted to talk and then ask all the questions and stuff. But it was pretty funny.
Out of the mouths of babes.
Right, exactly.
Oh,
It
my
really
gosh.
surprises people that a lot of us are in the community of Dallas-Fort Worth, and you see them,
Yeah.
all the time.
Yep.
Okay, so now I've got to get to your grown-up life. Because
Okay.
Now, after you graduated from high school, you went to A&M. You're an Aggie.
That's correct. That's correct.
What'd you major in? What did you want to do?
I majored in political science. I was, you know, I didn't quite know what I wanted to do, but I was kind of involved in politics. So I interned for Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison at the time for a summer, and did that. And I came back. It was a wonderful experience. I came back to A&M for my senior year, and decided that, you know, I needed to go to law school. And so I graduated on a Friday, and I started law school on a Monday in Houston, and kind of, hey, we'll, you know, see what happens. Maybe I'll be a lawyer, maybe I won't. And went to kind of work for a law firm and just kind of progressed on from there. I haven't been a lawyer the entire time. I mean, I graduated from law school and I started working at a law firm, but I've kind of had some other different jobs in between. But
And political jobs.
in political jobs, yes. After I graduated in 2005, and I worked for a firm there for about a year, I got a wonderful opportunity to go work for President George W. Bush at the White House. And so in 2006, my wife and I moved up to D.C. I worked there for about a little over a year. Awesome experience. And then we moved back to Fort Worth, and, you know, started a family at that point.
This is home.
This is home. Yeah, absolutely. We grew up here. DC was great. We really enjoyed it, and just an awesome opportunity to work for the president and be around all those things. They knew once I got up there, it was pretty quick and easy for them to folks around that I worked with to figure it out.
Figure out the Barney.
About Barney, that I was on the show. So the Easter egg roll they do each year, they've got these characters that walk around and you see them, but there's a Mr.
And I've done it. Barney's done it.
Yes.
We've done it.
So they got Mr. and Mrs. Easter Bunny
Yep.
and like a duck kind of walking around in these different, you know, Mother Goose or whatever, these things. So the girl that puts it on, she gave me a call and she said, "Hey, we want you to dress up in one of the characters."
That's awesome.
I said, I'm happy to, but I'm sure there's other folks here that want to do it. She goes, no, we want you to because we know you have experience with the characters and doing that. And I said, okay. I said, that's fine, I will. And so my wife came as my handler, and we walked around the White House all over talking to everybody. I was Mrs. Easter Bunny.
Nice.
And there's a photo of Mrs. Easter Bunny, which was me, Mr. Easter Bunny, and then the First Lady giving the speech off the front. And so that's kind of, it was kind of funny.
That's awesome.
You know, they wanted to, oh yeah, no, you have experience. I said, well, you know, I wasn't in the suit, but it's close enough, so that was fine.
Oh I love that story.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
And then you were an assistant DA, Tarrant County.
Tarrant
Fort
County,
Worth?
yep.
Yeah.
I was an assistant district attorney for about 6 years, almost 7 years, I guess. And my two partners and I worked there, and then we left and started up our own firm about 4 years ago. So we do criminal defense, trial lawyers.
So you are in front of people.
Yes,
All the
I'm still
time now.
performing. Yes, it does. It helps. You know, gets my my performing whatever I still got on that in front of juries or whatever. Sure.
Well, we were talking about this. You had a judge recognize you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, well, the courthouse knows now. I mean,
Right.
the entire courthouse knows. But one of the judges over there, apparently I made an appearance at his son's birthday years and years and years and years and years and years and years ago.
Oh, boy.
And he had a picture. He had kept a picture. I don't know. And he showed it to me. I said, yeah, boy, his son that we took a picture with is now, he's grown.
You
and-
couldn't even plead the fifth, could you?
No. That was me. That was for sure me. But, you know, back to those going to those birthday parties and stuff, people wanting us to come. And
It was amazing.
it was amazing. Folks have been so kind, and for them to want me to go and do that, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about it, if you think about it. As big as Barney got, he was actually in someone's house. And you were there. I mean, it's pretty amazing experience. You know, that wouldn't have ever happened in New York or
No.
LA. But in Dallas, Texas, you know, something like that.
Yeah, somebody
started
knows
there.
someone and they give you a call, and sure, no
Yeah.
problem. Of course I'd want to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, why wouldn't I?
Absolutely. And, you know, another thing I was remembering, and we haven't talked about this, so make sure I get this all right, but I remember us doing a video for your wedding.
You're
A little-
correct.
Yeah,
Yes,
'cause
you're
it was-
correct.
it was-
You are absolutely
It
correct.
was me.
Yes.
Yeah, they came on the set and said, Brian Eppes is getting married.
And you were Barney.
Well, on the set of PBS.
Okay.
No, this was when we had a break, and we did, because it was the same crew. They all love this man, and they really do. I mean, you talk about family. The family doesn't end when you leave.
No, it's
And we did a special video for him for his wedding.
Yeah.
What did you say? Do you remember this now?
Yeah, I have the video. It's a DVD. It was for a
Yeah.
rehearsal dinner, and
Yes.
my cousin put it
Yes.
together. And I remember when we played that at the rehearsal dinner. I said, "Holy cow! Like that is
They
incredible."
contacted us, and everyone was like, "Absolutely, we'll
Yeah.
do this."
It was awesome. It was very cool. He had very kind words to say to us, and to get married. That was quite a few years ago as well. But yes, you are correct, and we still have that. It was a well done video. My cousin did a fantastic job, but that was a very special moment on there.
But they
for
felt,
me.
I can remember it. I mean,
Yeah.
they all felt it was so important to them to do that for you.
That was so kind. Around town, I still see people from the crew. A lot of cameramen at the sporting events. So Mavericks games, Stars games, Ranger games. I still see them. We try to go, and I go talk to them in their breaks, and we say, "Hey, how's it going? How's the family
So
doing?
who do
We're
you
doing
see?
well." I see Jim up there at the Stars games usually, and we used to see Vic a lot, and he was always on the other side.
Vic was in the outfield.
Yeah, he was in the
Yep.
outfield. So we would see him, and then
Larry?
Yeah, Larry. I would see Larry too.
Yeah.
And so they would take videos, and so when I was in college, you know, my wife or wherever we go, we weren't married at the time. We'd go on a date, and they would say, "Hey, do you want to be up on the big screen?" I said, "Oh man." And so then here we come up on the big screen
Yeah.
or whatever, and so it's
I've had
great.
that same thing.
Yes.
They find us in the crowd and they put
Yeah.
you up on the big screen.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Well, and also you've had, when you were working, in the district attorney's office, like they would give you Barney birthday cakes? Is
Oh,
that
I got
true?
one. Yeah, my 30th birthday, they made a birthday cake for me. It was great. It was huge. The thing was probably this big, and it was a very accurate, well done Barney. And it was on deal, and they brought it in there, and so I still get stuff like today. It's people talking about it, but it's funny because just when I think everybody in the courthouse, everybody around knows, there's going to be somebody who calls up and says, "Hey, did I hear this correct?" And I said, "Yep, you heard that correct."
Actually, you did.
Yeah, you heard that correct. What do you want to know? You know,
Right.
what questions do you have?
What is the one question that most people ask about Barney?
Number one question that I get is, why didn't they use your real names?
That's interesting.
It's an interesting question, and it's a tough one to kind of explain because, we say, well, you know, I'm not actually Michael. You know, I played Michael, and he was loosely based on some of my own experiences, but it wasn't actually me. And they said, and then people, why didn't they use y'all's real names? Y'all so, you know, it's so good and real. And I said, you know, maybe it's because we're great actors, you know, which isn't the case. But I think that's a cool question though, because it kind of goes to me saying, you know, that we were having such a good time and everything was good. It was kind of real, you know, believable.
They believed.
Mm-hmm.
They believe. So how often, I know you've got some show and tell here, a couple of jackets. Let's just look at these. I was just wondering how often you whip those jackets on and wear those to some of the games so that people will.
No, these were.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Let's see.
This was we just wore this on the set. This was my crew jacket.
Oh, it has your name.
It has my name on it, and it has the newer logo, not the circle one, but the newer one.
Barney and Friends.
Yeah,
okay.
this is
So
hanging up in my closet.
which one were you? Is that? I guess you're there.
I'm going to be probably up here at the top.
That's right.
One
Absolutely.
of the taller ones.
That's right.
And then my parents have these jackets too. You know, we never get to wear them.
Yeah.
We never do wear
And
them.
I don't know if it was for you, but one of the reasons why they were always wearing jackets is the sets were so cold.
So cold.
freezing.
You had to have
And-
a coat.
Yeah.
But it was because you've got people in.
Everybody had these jackets on.
You've
so,
got people in costumes that are just so hot that you've got to keep those sets cold.
We had, it was
And the
really
lights, of
cold,
course.
and then the lights were on, so
Yeah.
there would be a huge temperature swing.
Yeah.
That sweatshirt's
between-
pretty cool.
This sweatshirt, yeah.
I've never seen. Have you ever seen anything like this, Carrie?
Oh, sure.
Oh, of course you have.
I
You probably
got
have
one in
several.
my.
You
Yeah,
probably
probably
have one.
I got one of those.
This comes out every once in a while for a family Christmas dinner or something, but this is pretty
Yeah.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I didn't know Barney liked baseball.
He
Over there, you
does,
got
yeah.
another
He
piece
does
over
very
there.
much.
This was
That's
another
right.
one that I took off my son's shelf.
Aw.
So that's kind of cool. It's just a plastic figurine. I'm not really sure, you know, what the.
Does he not have a tail?
He's got a little tail.
Oh, the little tail. Okay.
Yeah. And so it's kind of cool. We've got a nightlight somewhere. I couldn't find it. I was looking for
Wow.
it, but it's a nightlight of Barney, who's a train conductor, and he's holding the little lantern.
Yeah.
Still works.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so good quality stuff they were putting
That's
out
awesome.
there. And then I have the from Campfire Sing Along. I have the lantern that was on there. I still have that. So it was a green lantern.
That's
it's
awesome.
at my parents' place, and I have every script that we did.
Wow.
All in binders.
Yeah, I couldn't keep all.
Yeah.
And your parents have all your supposed to.
They
stuff.
have just about all of it, and they're ready for me to take it into my
You
own.
think?
But it's a lot of stuff, as you know. I mean,
Well,
you
we
just-
all have storage units.
you
Most
store-
of us have storage units.
Yeah,
for that
we
reason.
keep all that stuff, and
Yeah.
you know, I just can't get rid of
You
it.
can't get rid of it, yeah. And he does love baseball. Barney's thrown out the first pitch at several major league baseball games.
Yeah.
My goodness.
So I don't know where we got that, but we've got a couple of dolls. I've got all the plush dolls from all of them, and you know, just
Well, you've
different things.
you've taken good care of them.
Yes.
Your kids have admired more than maybe thrown them around.
Yeah, these sit up a little bit higher than what they can quite reach.
Yeah.
They sit up a little higher. Now the newer ones, you know, that they played with and everything, but yeah, we've kept all those things around.
Yes.
You know, being such an important part and such a big part of children's programming
Mm-hmm.
at the time, especially, could this type of show be done again?
I don't think so, and I don't mean that in the quality, but there's so many things right now. There's so many different avenues that kids can get their entertainment from. YouTube, you know, streaming. There's how many kids channels are on
Yeah,
now. I
there's a
mean,
lot.
there's how many different Disney channels are on. How many different Nickelodeon channels? There wasn't that back then, and I think we hit the sweet spot. They hit it perfectly, perfect timing, and then they put together a perfect group of folks and a perfect group of everything lined up just nicely so that it could happen. I think it would be real difficult to try to start a show, whether it's this show or not, but I think it would be very, very difficult.
The funny thing is, I disagree with you a little bit on Barney because, and you probably don't know this, but our big audience are the ones that watch you.
Yeah.
They've now become parents, and
Yes.
they're now.
They want.
Yes.
So that's the one thing that's been crazy about. Yeah, I think starting a new show would be hard, but with Barney, all of a sudden, those kids that were watching the show have now become parents, and they have their kids watching it.
Yes.
On Amazon and Netflix and
Yes,
that kind
you're
of stuff.
exactly right.
That part's been crazy.
Yeah,
about
that
this.
part has been crazy, and I would agree with you 100% on that. I think the funny thing is now when I get requests from folks, hey, my son used to watch your show. Can I have it? Sure. How old is he? 26, 28, 30.
Right.
I was like, exactly right. I mean, that's right. He's in the right. No, that age has just kind of slowly gone up. And so that they're starting to have kids and they're starting to talk about it. Oh, this is my favorite show. Can I have it? Can I have a picture or sign it? Sure, absolutely. 30 years old. It's great.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I love that a 28, 30-year-old still has fond memories and wants an autograph.
Absolutely.
And it meant something to them. That was one of the things with this show that I've always talked about, is it really meant something to us. We weren't doing this for a paycheck. I mean, we did this because we loved it and we loved what it was about.
So you would have done, here's as a defense attorney, would you have done the show without a paycheck?
Sure. I mean, I'd have to get some money somewhere else, but yes, I absolutely would have done this.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I keep going back, but the folks we worked with were just so fantastic, and it's such a great family. You wanted to do well for everybody else. They wanted to do well for you, and so yeah, we were putting this together. And then once we all were together, we put together a fantastic show, a great product that went out. And then you start hearing the stories about how it affected people's children and what it did for certain kids, and how my kid wasn't talking much until he watched your show.
Right.
And now all of a sudden he knows all of his colors and he can count to 10.
Right.
And hearing those stories, saying, okay, this was great.
Right.
And there's story after story after story, and I love hearing every single one of them, and I loved hearing them before.
Right.
And then the kids come in on that, they come onto the set for different foundations, and we bring them on, and it was wonderful.
Well, and we talked about this a little bit earlier. Both of us recently have talked to Dennis DeShazer.
Yes.
With this and involved in this show. Yes. And I talked to Dennis like I talked to him 20-something years ago. And I know you kind of feel the same way. It's
Yep. Dennis has called me. We've talked a couple of times. It's always in great lengths of years in between.
Right.
But when Dennis DeShazer calls me, it goes straight through. And when I was at the DA's office, he got my number and needed to call and tell me something that had happened. And so he called me, my secretary, get on the phone to me, and she goes, hey, there's a Dennis DeShazer on the phone. I said, put him through, straight through. She goes, do you know who this is? I said, yep, put him through. He goes straight in. Same thing happened when we were talking earlier. He had called me at my office now, and my secretary, same thing. Hey, do you know this guy? I said, yep, go straight through. If he's going to call, and what do you want? What do you need? I'm here to help, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian, is there a moment, maybe just one single moment, that really stands out?
Boy, that is a very, very tough question. There was a lot of moments, and there was a lot because we went through several different transitions. We went from the videos, we've seen those,
right,
and then once we found out, hey, we're going to do a couple more videos. Okay, this is pretty cool. So that was nice. And then we're going to do a couple more. Then Barney Goes to School got picked up by Disney. Whoa, now we're talking. Now we're talking. It was one episode.
Yeah.
But boy, we thought that was great. And then PBS started calling. Well, we're going to do a couple PBS episodes. Okay, now this is cool. Well, they're going to pick up and do a few more. And so each time we did, it was something. There was a special time. There was another special cool moment. It's to narrow that down. There's so many. I have so many great memories. I to narrow it down to one, I don't know if I could do that.
I guess you can't.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do it. There's a lot.
Oh, I couldn't do it.
No,
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot to do with the kids and the love and all of that, but one moment is very difficult.
Yeah. But it, just the opportunity to do it and be with those folks and be around great people,
right,
was every day. It's wonderful experience.
So we use it around here, Barney Magic. What does Barney Magic mean to you?
Barney Magic means to me, like we were watching here, and the way that children watch the show and how it affects them and what it does for them and the kids, and how we were, like I was saying earlier, like it was real. It is real. And when you watch these children, they come and talk to you, and you see it in their eyes, or they see it, that was real to them, and how it affected their lives, and what joy it brought them, what joy it brought their parents to when something great happened in their lives, or they can remember things. And that was what was really magical. And to have it be a part of that with such a great group of people, that's what it was for me.
Now I know why everyone wanted Brian Epps on Purple Tales podcast, why you have been a favorite, why everyone knows your name as Brian, not necessarily they know Michael. I mean, I get it now. I mean, I'm with them.
Well,
you are an absolute delight.
Well, that's very kind. It's very kind of everyone to want that and to be interested in what I'm doing. It's very kind. Thank you everyone that watched the show and put to where we are today. I appreciate it. I truly do. I mean, it's been quite a ride.
Well, thank you. We are so thrilled that you came here today.
Absolutely.
And getting to see you again.
Absolutely.
After
I know.
all these years.
It
was just fun talking to you on the phone, and then having you here has been amazing.
Yes, it's been a lot of fun. And thinking about all these things after we've spoken, we were going to come and do this. Going back through memory lane has just been a delight. It's been a lot of fun. As I expected it would have been. I wouldn't expect anything else.
And Brian and, of course, Carrie are why it's so easy to like, share, and subscribe Purple Tales Podcast. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you all for having me on.
I just want your kids, though, to watch this now over and over and over. You're going to get so tired of seeing yourself.
I'm sure
that
they
And I
probably
love that proud Texan brought his boots in today.
He
That's
did wear his
right.
boots. Well,
so proud.
There's not a Texas
my-
defense
and I
attorney
gotta-
who doesn't wear boots.
That's correct.
And of course, I got to give you a gig 'em.
Yes,
Best friends
thank you.
in Aggie, got to give you a gig 'em.
Thank you. Absolutely. Giggle Maggies.
Absolutely.